Welcome, everyone. Got students trickling in. We'll just give it essentially one more minute here. Okay, I'm going to start going. Melanie, if you don't mind just keeping an eye on the waiting room. And if you see students joining, if you want to just let them in, that would be great. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for attending today. My name is Erin Mazzoni, and I'm joined today by my colleagues Melanie Zimmer and Susan Basudde. We are going to be chatting about essentially the change of program form and process, as well as degree enhancements. So we're going to be going through a number of different topics, but Melanie and I are going to be kind of jumping back and forth and watching the chat as well. So feel free to pop questions into the chat, and then we're going to hear from Susan Basudde near the end, as she is our academic development specialist. So I am going to just do the territorial acknowledgement. We would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, which comprise the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai First Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, who include the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. So we decided instead of an agenda that we would go with learning objectives today to kind of describe to you what we're hoping you're going to take away from this session. Essentially, we want you to be a little bit more aware of the change of program process. So what is it? When do I need it? When do I use it? How do I use it? How do I apply? What is the time frame? And all those questions surrounding this mysterious change of program process. Within that umbrella is concentration. So if you choose to change your concentration, we want to discuss kind of how that's done, and also if that's done, you know, where you can go if you're thinking about changing it, if you're not sure if you need to, all those kind of pieces we want to discuss with you today. We are going to be talking about a couple of ways to enhance your degree. So we're touching on things like co-op, maybe doing a dual degree, adding a minor, potentially going on an exchange. Just a couple of things for you guys to be aware of, but it can be overwhelming. So just know that this is information-based. We just want to give you the tools and a little bit of a taste of the different ways you can differentiate, but that we are also available to talk about this one-on-one in advising. And Susan is definitely a wonderful support as well. For any kind of academic concerns you might have, but she'll go into that a little bit later. So of course, we'll also talk about tools for success, and then a little bit more information about how you can actually reach out to Melanie or myself or Susan. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Melanie, and I will be watching the chat as well as anyone who's coming in into the waiting room. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Erin. So yeah, so let's get into some BComm degree requirements. And so more or less you have 40 courses that you have to complete. And within those 40 courses, there are going to be 6 concentration courses. And so sometimes BComm students get a little confused, call it a major. It's really called a concentration, but I think within the system, it pops up and it looks like it says major. It's really a concentration. It's different than a major. It's only 6 courses. And this is kind of where you specialize a little bit more. And so as you see from this list here, we have 16 concentrations. And so a common question that we get from students is, how do I change my concentration? And so, or what are the different concentrations? What are my options? And so we can share this presentation afterwards, but more or less they all have hyperlinks. You can also access all of this stuff on our Haskayne advising webpage. And if you were to go in, it'll show you exactly what's required of that concentration, any kind of prerequisites, And also, often there's a student club. If you want to join, you want to get a little more information, as well as some info on careers as well. So lots of great info there. Just wanted to make you aware in case you weren't aware that there were 16 concentrations, so lots of choice. Then we have a little snippet of our program sheet that kind of gives you an idea of what to do. I mean, you don't have to take 4 years, you can take longer. But quite a few students like to finish it in 4. And if you want to, these are suggestions as to how you can do that. And again, here's a link to our program sheet where you can go through and you can see exactly what's required. Anything that's named, a named course like Accounting 217, 323, those ones you have to take. And then you're also going to have some options. Then choosing courses. So if you want to know specific to yourself how you're doing, how you're progressing in your degree, whether the courses that you've registered for are actually being used in the BComm, this is the best way to do it. You go into your own student center, down into the program and advising info tab, and there's a report right here that's called academic requirements. And when you click on that, it'll show you all of the courses that you've already completed, plus the courses that you're currently registered in, and it will show how they're fulfilling the requirements of the degree. And if you scroll to the very bottom of the report, there's going to be a section called unused courses. If you ever see something in there, in general, it probably means that those courses are not going to be used. You're taking maybe too many of a certain course type. So if you get a situation like that, you can always talk with us in advising, and we can try to help you out to see if maybe we can make it so that either the courses apply or you drop courses that you don't necessarily need, but just something to be aware of. Then another question that we often get from students is recommended options for the BComm. So the way the BComm works is you actually get to take 13 option courses out of the entire 40 that's required for the degree. That's quite a few options. And 4 of them have to be at the junior level, that's the 200 level, and 9 of them have to be at the senior level. Senior level is 300, 400, or 500 level. And the way it works is 4 have to be senior non-commerce options. That means any course not offered by Haskayne. So usually students take it from the Faculty of Arts or Faculty of Science. And then there are an additional 5 senior commerce or non-commerce options. And that's where you have a little bit of choice. So if you're really loving the commerce courses and you'd like to take more, you can totally do that. If you would just like to try something else out and you want to take some more courses from arts or science, that's fine too. That option is there. And those can all be used in your degree. So here's a list of recommended options. This sheet is also on our website. These are more or less complementary courses. So if you're thinking about doing accounting, finance, or personal financial planning, we recommend that you take data science, economics, or math. It's not required. It's just some options just to help guide you in your choices. And if you want, you have the option to enhance your degree and do something called a minor. And so a minor, it's 10 courses. And so the official terminology is 30 units in a specific field outside of commerce. And again, usually it's taken from arts and science. Most minors don't have any admission requirements, but some of them do. So data science is one of them, for example. And the way that you would apply for this is through your change of program link in your student center. And right now, that change of program link is open. And it's going to be open. It's open every year from October 1st to February 1st. And it starts officially in the fall. So if you apply for a change of program now, it won't take effect until fall of 2022. So just in case you apply and you're like, how long is this going to take? You likely won't see it take effect until fall of 2022. So I guess just be patient about that. And the great thing about it is minors are optional, so you don't have to take one, but if you want to take one, it actually counts the courses that you take in your minor if you plan really well, you can use those as your junior and your senior non-commerce options. And it all fits in. It's not like you don't end up having to take extra courses and spend extra time or extra money. It all just fits in. So if you're in a situation where you were kind of maybe torn between 2 degrees and you're like, I don't know if I should do the BComm because I really have a passion for, I don't know, law and society. And you're like, you know what? You can do a minor in that. And so you can kind of live the best of both worlds, still finish your degree on time and enhance your degree that way. And I should have also said with the concentrations, if you want to change your concentration, you also do it the same way through the change of program. The other option that you have is something called embedded certificates. And so embedded certificates are 6 courses, so 18 units. And if you click on the link right here, it'll take you to the whole list of embedded certificates that the university offers. And I think right now, I believe there are about 6. And actually, Haskayne offers 2 of them. We offer one in entrepreneurial studies or entrepreneurial thinking, and then leadership studies. And there's one on, I think, globalism, pluralism. There's mental health and well-being, creative writing. There are lots of different ways that you can complement your degree. And again, if you're taking these 6 courses, these courses can also be used in your actual BComm as your options courses. And again, it's the same situation. Apply through the change of program link in your student center. These are the dates for fall start. And again, the embedded certificate is optional, but the really cool thing about an embedded certificate is it actually appears on your grad parchment and your transcript. A minor will not appear on your grad parchment. It'll only show up on your transcript, just so you kind of know what to expect. Then there's something called a combined degree. So if you are a super go-getter and you want to do 2 degrees in just over like 5 years or over, you can do this. And so you would actually end up graduating with 2 parchments. So you could do your BComm, and then you could do another degree, either a BA or a Bachelor of Science. And so here you go. Here's the info on it. So you have to meet the admission requirements for both programs. You can also apply for this through the change of program. You have to take at least 150 units. That's how many it's going to take to complete it. So that's why it's going to take you 5 years to do 2 degrees. And it can take you longer if you kind of join in later or if you haven't taken the right courses to start with. But if you're thinking about that and you'd like to try a combined degree, you can absolutely do that. And so if you're thinking about this stuff and you're wondering, okay, what would it be like if I change my concentration? Or what if I add a minor or an embedded certificate? Or what if I want to do a combined degree? What does this like mean? Which courses do I have to take? And so again, if you go to your student center, you go to your program and advising info, and then you go to here where it says, what if advisement report? You can click on this and you can make those changes and you can see exactly what would happen. And it's a hypothetical environment. It doesn't actually make any changes. It just shows you what if, and so this is the tool that you'd want if you want to see specifically which courses need to be completed in order to complete those programs. Okay, so as I've kind of said in summary, the change of program is used to make any changes to your degree. So if you want to add a minor, you want to add a combined degree, you want to add an embedded certificate, or you want to add all of those, you can do that through the change of program. You can do more than just a minor. You could do a minor and a combined degree, or a minor, a combined degree, and embedded certificate. You can, you know what I mean? Like you can't just choose necessarily one. If you don't want to, you can choose more than one. I should mention with concentrations, because we often get this question, you cannot choose 2 concentrations. You have to pick 1 concentration and that's it. And I'm really sorry, but those are the rules. That's the way it is. It doesn't stop you from taking courses in another concentration. You can still do that, but you're not going to have it like formally recognized on your transcript. Like it's not going to say 2 concentrations, even if you end up taking all of the courses required for 2 concentrations. Then you can also apply to the honors program through the change of program as well. And again, the dates, October 1st to Feb 1st, every year. And it takes effect in the fall. And so here it is here. This is how you find it. Again, the program and advising info tab, change of program. And if you do this and you get stuck, you can always contact our office. You can email us, you can do the drop-in advising for, like we have Zoom, we have in-person, you have some options there. When you go through, they're going to ask, which year of program are you going into? It honestly doesn't matter which year you pick, but you could pick year 2. That's just fine. Okay, now we get into even more fun stuff. These are the additional opportunities. So if you are a super go-getter and you would love to do research and you want to specifically work with a faculty member, maybe you want to publish a paper, you're thinking about doing graduate studies, maybe you want to become a professor one day, this is the route for you. So it's, again, not meant to extend your degree. You'd have to take 3 specific courses if you get admitted to the honors program, and they can fulfill your three senior options courses. There are admission requirements though. So specifically, you have to complete all of these courses, these 6 courses, by winter of your 2nd year. Then it gets a little more complicated because you have to have a GPA of 3.30 or higher on all 6 of these courses and on your last 30 units, the winter term back. So, and we have, again, all the stuff, it's on our website. So you'd also apply for honors through the change of program portal, same dates, same fall start. The difference with honors, though, is that you actually have to do an interview. You have to provide 2 reference letters, and you have to have a letter of intent where you explain what you're interested in researching and kind of what your goals are. And if you're successful, you're going to get contacted to provide these requirements. So kind of there are different things that you have to go through taking those courses, achieving that GPA. And then if you're successful with that, this is the next step. Co-op program. So this is a fantastic way to enhance your degree. I meant to ask if I could update this information. I didn't ask, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it anyway. Maybe I'll get in trouble, maybe I won't. I don't think I will. So right now it says complete 3 work terms, which is 12 months of experience. On Monday, I happen to know that we got approval that you only have to do a minimum of 2 work terms. So yay, what we're finding is our students are very successful when they get into the co-op program at obtaining job offers from employers, usually by their 2nd work term. So taking that 3rd work term sometimes isn't worth it to them because the employer just wants them to finish their degree and start working with them. So it's going to be, I mean, if you want, you can do 3 work terms, you can do 4 work terms, but it'll be at least 2. And the way the work terms work is it alternates between an academic term and a work term. One of your terms will have to be a fall or winter term, which means your degree time will be extended, like the time to graduation, by 1 semester if you do it that way. And then the other term you can do in the spring and summer. And the work terms last for 4 months and you get paid and you get hopefully a reference if you do a very good job. And we have excellent support with our Haskayne career development specialists. They can help you with your resumes, your cover letters, your interview techniques, all of that kind of stuff. And we even have a course specific to getting a job and all of that jazz with Haskayne. And so And at the end, if you do co-op, it ends up on, I believe it's on your parchment as well as your transcript. So I speak very highly of it. I know it's been very successful for many students. I don't have all the data, but yeah. So if you want to, it's a competitive program. You have to apply. You'll want to apply before the end of your second year. And when you do, these are the courses that you'll have to take before your first work term, as well as your concentration course. So like it says right here, especially important for accounting and finance students. If you're an accounting student and you want to do co-op, make sure that you have finished accounting 217 and 323 before you go on your first work term. If you are a finance concentrator, finance 317 needs to be finished. And each concentration has different requirements. It's generally the 317 course though. So minimum GPA, I believe it's a 3.0 or higher, but as this caveat says, it does not guarantee admission. It is a really competitive program, but it's definitely worthwhile. And now over to Erin. This is her wheelhouse.
Thanks, Melanie. That was a lot of information. Wow. Thanks so much for all of that. We have had some questions coming into the chat. I've been keeping up fairly well, but of course we will open it up for questions in a little bit as well, and you are all welcome to continue using the chat. But yes, I will speak to the international exchange opportunities simply because it's myself and my colleague Stacy, who's not here today, that essentially run it for the Haskayne School of Business. Essentially, the point behind it is exactly what that first bullet point says. The idea is that you can go abroad and take courses that will still count towards your program. So instead of simply just taking a semester here in Canada, in Calgary, you could potentially be going to Singapore or Italy or Spain and spend the time there and still be progressing along your degree the same as you would here in Calgary. We do have some eligibility, and the reason for this is because most of our partners are asking you to take some business courses while you're there. And the business courses tend to be at that kind of third and fourth year level. So for that reason, we want to make you successful. So we would like for you to have completed at least 20 courses before you go. So that puts you around that third year. So that is basically so that you are taking a course that is at the level you're at. It's true in this case that our international program isn't open to you really until you hit that third year mark. So it's something to start thinking about now. But just so you know, there is an opportunity to take courses abroad earlier through the university-wide study abroad program. Okay, so if you want to go in your second year, we can still talk about that and still guide you into who you would apply with. It's just that the Haskayne exchange is something that you look at more in your third and fourth year. Okay. Along these same lines, we do recommend that you have NT 317 and MGST 391 completed as well. And the reason for that is because they tend to be prerequisites for future courses. And just for progression, it's better for you to have them done than be coming back and have to take them because they're prerequisites, right? So you don't want to be kind of behind by a semester because you didn't take them earlier. We are looking for a GPA of 2.9 on the last 10 courses or 30 units at the time of application review. So that usually means we're looking at a fall semester and backwards. Like I said, usually of that second year. Okay, so we're a little early, but it's something to start thinking about now. But yes, this is generally the GPA we're looking for, simply because, again, a lot of our partners are looking for that caliber of study as well. So I will actually go through a couple of tools for success too, just to kind of talk about what you can be thinking about when you're putting in your courses, when you're looking for them. March will come around faster than you know, and you'll be looking at creating your schedule for next year. So the idea is that you put a balance of your business courses and non-business courses. So your business courses and your options throughout each semester, okay? Clearly, you're all passionate about business, but you might find some of the business courses are going to be a little bit more challenging. And for that reason, we do suggest that you put something that you're interested in or passionate about as an option to kind of balance that out. It also gives you great balance in terms of your brain, right and left brain, if that's obviously of interest to you. We do consider a full-time student a student who has 9 units per term or 3 courses minimum. So as long as you have 3 courses in a fall or winter semester, you are considered full-time. If you take 2 in a spring or summer semester, you are also considered full-time, but it is not expected. So we have had this question before where students have said, oh, do I need to take spring courses or summer courses to be considered full-time? No, you do not. The only expectation is that you are in full-time studies or you are in studies for fall and winter. You do not need to take spring courses, but students do take advantage of those semesters to kind of sneak in a couple courses here and there. If you take less than 5 courses per term, as Melanie kind of laid out the little schedule at the very beginning, to complete the degree in 4 years, it is a total of 40 courses. So if you break that down, that's 10 courses per year, which means 5 courses a semester in fall and winter. But as I mentioned, there are the spring summer terms. So you can potentially take some spring or summer terms to offset those 5 and 5. Some students do tend to overload themselves too. They'll take 6 in a semester. I did that in my final year just because I had 12 courses and I just wanted to blow through them. Totally up to you guys. And we do have some requirements for that, but it is an opportunity if you guys are in that position. There are a few rules. So we do get questions usually around this time when you guys are going into your midterms about withdrawing. So we do have that rule that your core business courses, not your options, but your core business courses do have to be a C- or better, right? So when students start feeling like they're not going to meet that C-, they have lots of questions for us advisors, which is fair. That's what we're here for, right? And as you all know, we are past the add drop deadline for removing yourself from a class. So at this point, if you were to remove yourself from a class, that is a strategic move to protect a GPA, and students do it, but you do get a W for that course, okay? Which is fine, but just note you cannot withdraw from the same course a second time. So if you withdraw from a course, then you must receive a C- or better the next time you take it. You will not be able to withdraw. And if you are not able to get a C-, then you would still have to retake the course and you would have to take a grade, okay? But those are things when we talk about withdrawing and not doing well in classes, that's where Susan comes in. We're going to talk to her shortly. She has been patiently waiting. So I'm going to finish this slide and turn it over to her. But essentially, repeating a course may affect your graduation goal, but there are ways you can still stay on track, okay? So just like talking about withdrawing and potentially not doing well in a course, it happens. It's kind of part of the, let's say, soft skills or transferable skills that you're learning, right? You're learning your boundaries, your capacities, and that is all part of the university experience as well, okay? So you can still stay on track. You can pick it up in a spring or summer semester. You can add it as an overload, as a 6th course. There are ways to continue on, okay? And then we also have some organized study groups for what's called PASS designated courses. So we can go into that a little bit further if you're interested, but essentially there are lots of opportunities and resources for you guys to, improve your academic performance if you're having trouble, to support you. And one of those is our amazing academic development specialist, Miss Susan Basudde, who I am going to turn it over to now. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's lovely to see some familiar names. So I'm Susan Basudde, and I am your faculty ADS. There is something really special about Haskayne students. They always get some privilege, sort of contact for resources. So I am the only ADS that is on campus, that is situated or lives in a faculty. So that's super special because I am committed to only your well-being and only your academic success. And so because of that, I have access to your D2L shell, so we can work on strategy and work on time management and things of that nature. So just a little bit of my background. I am a registered social worker. And so there's a lot of focus with me around your mental health, your well-being, and how you're moving through this academic environment. So it is super important to me that when we talk, that you can feel comfortable in this space and that we can work on some of the goals that are important to you. So aside from some of the things that are just listed below in sort of the darker bold, I do facilitate the academic turnaround program. And so if you find yourself with a GPA that is lower than a 2.0 in 2 consecutive terms, I don't want you to freak out because it's not the end of the world. It just means that you need a little bit more time spent on some of the academic study strategies that we go through our seminars. And so before we get to even to that point, because most of you are in your first year, second year, depending on where you're at, I'm here to help you build an academic strategy. So a lot of the work that I do is centered around goal setting and looking at specifically your goals for what you want to accomplish. And so whether that's increasing your GPA so you can be part of a co-op program, or it's increasing your GPA so that you can be part of the honors program as well. Or even if you're thinking about what would it look like to do an exchange and you want to sort of just boost your GPA a little bit. I think it's important that in this environment you experience the courses and the teaching and the learning and the profs in a way that's really meaningful for you. And so part of that would be that we work on sort of managing your test anxiety if you're experiencing any of that. And we're getting into a bit of a hard time right now. There's a lot of things due. There's a lot of things happening just in our overall environment. Just even the transition from some of us being still online to some of us being in person. There's a lot that's going on. And so I'm here to kind of talk you through that, whatever that looks like for you. And so as we get into midterm season, I'm here to help you prep for that. Thinking about revisiting or reimagining some of those academic study strategies that you guys were exposed to in high school. I'm here to ignite a bit of a fire and say you need those, right? When it comes to time management and having a calendar, when it comes to note taking, you cannot go through any of your classes, and trust me, you know this from experience, without taking notes. And so I'm here to help you or even encourage you to sort of reintroduce some of those really great strategies back into what you do. If you are a student that has received any support in the past academically with extra time or anything of that nature, and you're looking to get reconnected to a service like that, feel free to let me know because I can help you do that through SAS. And then just overall wellness. I have a lot of students that just check in just to tell me how things are going, whether it's academics or whether there's things in your personal life that you want to connect with. I'm going to do that in a safe and confidential sort of way. So thanks for letting me be part of this today. I'm excited to possibly meet some of you in person because I'm able to do that, or on Zoom. So yeah, that's it for me. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Susan. Fabulous. So that kind of resumes or concludes rather our presentation today. So I am going to stop the recording and then we can essentially answer any questions you guys might have. That was a lot of information fairly quickly, so we recognize that. Here is some contact information. So we do have our email. So Melanie and I are both part of the undergraduate advising team. There are 6 of us total, and we all have access to this email. So you can reach out to that one, and we have had a pretty good turnaround on it in a couple days right now. Not even, I think. Busier times, we tend to be more like a couple days, but right now it's fairly quick. So reach out to us. We also have Susan's email here as well. So like you heard, Susan is all things, all the things. So feel free to reach out to her and set up appointment time with her. And you can just reach out to her for any of the pieces that she was mentioning. She is there to help you create a plan, essentially. So that was awesome. Thank you so much for everyone. Thanks, Melanie. And anyone who has any questions, you can stick around. You can raise your hand. You can use the chat, whatever you're most comfortable with. Give it a few minutes.